the other breaking news, according to our Adrian Wojnarowski, the Thunder are sending Carmelo Anthony to the Atlanta Hawks, and then the Hawks will buy out Melo and allow him to become a free agent. Remember, Carmelo has a no-trade clause. The trade also involves the Thunder sending a lottery-protected 2022 pick to Atlanta for Dennis Schroeder. Last season was Melo's one and only season in OKC, and it was forgettable at best. He averaged 16.2 points per game, the only season in his career in which he averaged fewer than 20 points per. Our Adrian Wojnarowski joins us now. What is next for Carmelo after he is bought out by Atlanta?
Well, the Rockets are the front runner, Nicole, to sign him. He'll be waived. He'll pass through waivers, and he'll be able to sign anywhere he likes. He met with the Rockets and the Miami Heat in Las Vegas last week at Summer League, had permission from the Thunder to do so, but they have not informed any of the teams of a decision yet. But Houston is a strong front runner. What's
the timeline on when this decision could be made next?
Well, once the paperwork is done on the deal, it's filed with the league office. You know, again, be a 48-hour waiver process, which he'll pass through, and then, you know, after that, he'll be able to formally commit. But it will be in the near future, and you know, Houston is enthusiastic about their chances to pair him with his close friend Chris Paul and obviously James Harden.
Of course, this all starts with the agreement between the Thunder and Atlanta to make this trade. Why does it work for both teams?
Well, especially for Oklahoma City. Dennis Schroeder, to get a starting level NBA point guard, 24 years old, to play, you know, behind Russell Westbrook and at times with Russell Westbrook. They were going to essentially waive and stretch Melo's contract. That would have saved them over $100 million. The way they're doing this, they're still going to save over $75 million, but they get an asset now who can play with them this year. He's got 3 years left on his deal. He's a tradable asset in the future. But Billy Donovan, Sam Presti in Oklahoma City, they want to get faster, quicker, and they've done that with Schroeder. Tremendous opportunity for them to improve their roster. And now at Atlanta, with the arrival of Trey Burke and Jeremy Lin, Trey Young from Oklahoma, the 5th overall pick in the draft, you know, this will become Trey Young's team very quickly.
All right, Woj, thank you so much. Coming up, one is the
name, DeMar DeRozan. In reaction to the Raptors trading DeMar DeRozan to the Spurs for Kawhi Leonard, after Raptors management reportedly promised DeRozan he would not be traded, NBA players took Twitter to rip the Raptors for their disloyalty to DeRozan, who often pledged his loyalty to Toronto. Pablo, are these NBA players fairly accusing the Raptors of betraying DeMar? So look at some of these tweets.
Yes, please. Who do we got?
Dame Lillard, Cole Gang. I mean, that's true.
And Dame Lillard is someone who this summer has been rumored to be traded, so I would assume he has a...
Cole Gang, Lou Williams. I'm hurt, bro. I'm hurt. My dog gave that city and organization his heart and soul. He was loyal to the soil and got stabbed in the back. Yeah, I mean, if they lied to him, that is the case.
DeMar was the most loyal to the soil.
What else we got here? I was going to have our man Enes Kanter come up next. Yes, Enes Kanter. Mad respect for DeMar DeRozan, a classy player who's given his heart to a franchise, one of the most loyal player I know, giving you away for nothing. They gave away for Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard is not nothing, and also that's clearly still a subtweet at Kevin Durant, because Enes Kanter still is out here doing that, and I kind of respect him.
He doesn't even play for the Thunder anymore.
No, he's a Nick. He's a Nick litigating many other
And now we got my homeboy Rod's cousin, Anthony Morrow. Sheesh, good luck to the Raptors in free agency after Kawhi leaves, after what they just pulled with DeMar. No superstar going to want to play for a lion bleep organization. Now, look, he's right. If they lied to DeRozan, this is something that Masai Ujiri is going to have to deal with. But did they really betray him by trading him if they didn't lie? If they just traded him, I don't feel like they had an obligation to keep him.
So I understand why all of these NBA players are so enthusiastically coming out in defense of DeMar DeRozan. I think it's very plausible that an organization would say, we're not going to trade you, and then they do immediately after. Charlie Villanueva had his own tweet last night talking about how when Brian Colangelo was the Raptors GM, they basically told him, Colangelo and Sam Mitchell, the head coach, did, we're not going to trade you unless Michael Jordan comes back. Villanueva was traded the next day. This is business as usual, but our friend and colleague Bruce Arthur pointed out that Ujiri had been trying to trade DeRozan for the last 2 years and just never found the right deal. So yeah, did he get lied to? Did he feel like he was just safe? That's where this, I think, actually breaks down.
Okay, but the thing about this is, so I think that it's ridiculous the way that fans and media very often expect loyalty from players, a loyalty that they do not expect from the owners.
Correct.
But I don't think the solution is to then expect an unrealistic level of loyalty from the teams themselves. Like, if you're going to have a it's a business understanding, then everybody's got to have the it's a business understanding. And this does go in two directions. So if the contract had ended and DeRozan decided to chuck them to deuce, I'd ride for him and his willingness to leave and chuck them to deuce. They get to trade you, man. This is just how it goes.
And also, you did get benched in that series against the Cavs, and now they're just a better team. The next name is Jarrell Casey. The Tennessee Titans defensive lineman raised his fist last year after the national anthem throughout the 2017 season alongside teammate Wesley Woodyard. Although owners passed a new anthem policy in May that says players must stand and show respect for the flag and anthem, Casey spoke to CNN and wasn't ready to toe that company line just yet. Let's listen.
It was a good decision for the NFL to come up with that ruling, but they have their reasonings on what they've done. I'm going to take a fine this year. Why not? I'm going to protest during the flag. That's what I'm going to say now. I'm going to take my fine. So it is what it is. I ain't going to let them stop me doing what I want to do. And if they want to have these battles between players and organizations, it's what it's going to be. Just because it's not necessarily about the anthem. That's where everybody's messing up at. It's not about the anthem. We're just using that time to use it for our platform. If everybody can understand where we come from about the injustice in America, the way that the justice system treats minorities is the issue that we have. And until they can understand that, and for an organization, you know, for 95% of your team to be minorities, and you can't understand where we come from.
Well, Monty, what do you think of that interpretation and strategy by Jarrell Casey?
I mean, I got a lot of now what when it comes to this, right? Because if his intention behind this and the reason for doing it is to like rebel against the fact that they put this rule in the first place, then I can kind of understand where it is that you're coming from. But if it's defiance for the sake of defiance, then it's really not worth it. And it's fair to ask at this point if those demonstrations during the national anthem are having the intended effect. Right? Like, is it advancing the discussion in a positive way? Because I think they should be able to do those things. I think the way that people react to them is a bit silly overall. But I don't get to tell those people how to react. So if this is what their reaction is going to be, is this the way to reach them? That's the fair question that you got to ask.
Yeah, now we have to think strategically. And when I say we, I really mean a civil society that wants to advance the discussion, as you put it. And advancing the discussion truly means, unfortunately, converting people to the way that you see the world. And I feel this way about so many things that are sort of embedded in our discourse and have principle and virtue behind them. Everything he said, everything Jarrell Casey said in that clip was right. It's not obvious. It's clearly not about the things that other people want to say. It's about injustice, etc. But when it comes to terms, even like when it comes to terms like white privilege, I can prove why that is a valid term sociologically. But is that going to convert people? Kneeling in front of the anthem seems to have that kind of effect.
Yeah, even let's get beyond the effect also, though, right? So, like, we could question what the effect is going to be. Here's the thing. This has been done, and we've been doing it for a while now.
Long time.
Right? So with this having been done for 2 years, it seems more like it's probably time to come up with something else. Like, it's probably time to think of the new way to advance this. What I think happened in a lot of ways with the kneeling that was somewhat problematic is that became the standard of what you do. So it almost became, if you're not doing this exact thing,
that's right,
then people then came back and looked at you and said, what are you doing? The expectation was, well, y'all need to go out there and kneel. That's not the only way to go about doing this. And I do wonder what the next level of it is going to be for the people who are most invested, because this has probably gone as far as it's going to go in terms of having an effect. For the first year and a half, I think it absolutely had a positive effect, even if there was some rocky road along the way. I don't know if you're going to keep that going in year 3.
And the positive effect, to be clear, also was you attracted attention to this conversation that never really got paid attention to. That's the hardest part about any protest. And now we're here. What do we do next?
But the harder part is that. Now what? All right, next name is DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins was introduced as a member of the Warriors today. And thanks to this video we got from an upcoming Showtime sports documentary project featuring Cousins, we have an inside look at the moment he found out he was going to be on the Warriors. He starts off detailing the level of interest he was getting from other teams. Let's listen.
We reached out to teams, the Pelicans. There was no offer. I understand. They're big year and you don't want to ruin it, taking a chance on a damaged player. Cool. You know, we reached out to some other teams. We got answers like, we don't believe it's a good fit, or we got to see what we're doing with our roster right now. Like, just kind of bull answers. And talked to Draymond, talked to KD, I talked to Steph, and they were like, hell yeah, let's do it. You know, this was my ace of spades. This was my nuclear bomb. I'm a warrior. Yeah, I could have probably got a decent contract from a bad team. But how does that help me? I'm already fighting a career-ending injury.
Pablo, how do you feel about soft music DeMarcus Cousins there?
I feel like this obviously was DeMarcus Cousins' spin, but I also get why he did this. I mean, when he says terms like, this is my nuclear bomb and all that, I think that obscures the other stuff that was just as telling, which was, what else was he really going to do? I mean, those other teams very clearly have a different perception of this man, DeMarcus Cousins, than the fans who responded to this, certainly on social media, did, Bo. The biggest fans of the Warriors are the people who hate the Warriors so much. I feel like these fans have more faith in this team and in this man than this man might have and that team might have in themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he forget. You don't know what they be saying about you. like, no disrespect, but like, don't, like, whether they're right or wrong or whatever it is, or like it's not a good fit or whatever, people think he's crazy. Like, there's no way around that. People think that he is toxic and that he can ruin what it is that you have. It seemed to go okay for him when he was in New Orleans, but no, there weren't going to be so many people putting up such a heavy investment on a dude coming off that sort of injury there. And yes. I think, look, for a guy that's already made a lot of money, I get it. I'm willing to take 5.3 to go play for this team where I might be able to become champion guy. And oh, by the way, I'm not playing till February anyway.
Right. No, he can be slid in and used. He can be coming off the bench. He can be honestly playing a game that's not so different from the game he knows. It's just that the Warriors will use him in select scenarios where it calls for a big man like this.
Yeah, also we have this here with the haters. Oh, Boogie Cubs is talking to the haters.
I knew how I would be perceived from some.
Come on.
You can give I'm saying that now because I'm seeing the reaction, but I didn't give There's some other out there that's probably ripping their hair out right now, and I love it. I'm a fighter. I never give up, and I'm taking this challenge head on.
Now, this does give us something interesting with DeMarcus Cousins I had not really considered before, which is this being the first time he's been on a good team. You get to act a little different when you're on a good team, you know? Like, that stuff he can say right there about, I know I'm pulling people, they pulling their hair out, and I love it. Never came up once in Sacramento.
No,
not once.
No,
not
no
a
one cared.
time.
No one cared like that. And if I was DeMarcus Cousins, I would triple down on this and challenge the people who are now my haters and say, why do you guys hate me? Oh, because I'm really good and this team is really good? Why don't you guys have some more self-confidence? Why do I have to be good? Say I'm bad. How about that? Say this team is bad. But they don't actually believe that, which is strange. Our last name is Brandon at LA Fitness. The past few days, the internet has been fascinated by the story of a man playing basketball at an LA Fitness in Virginia, calling the cops because of a hard screen someone set on him. First, we had video of the aftermath of the incident, but now we have the 911 call and police body cam footage.
Where are we going first?
We're going to start by hearing the 911 call
I got
placed from the front desk with the victim standing by. Let's listen.
Hi, yes, I'm calling from LA Fitness at the Dallas Town Center, and a member got assaulted.
Okay, and this occurred inside the business, or where did it happen?
It happened in the basketball court. What does he look like?
He's tall, African-American, like 4'6". He's got headband.
He's tall, African-American. He has long
dude next to the cop,
and a headband, he said? And a headband.
And are you the desk clerk?
Yes, work at the front desk.
And is the victim with you at the front desk?
Yes.
Does the victim need an ambulance, anything like that?
No.
Look, I know this is a counterintuitive idea, but if you're so much of a sucker that you call the police about a screen, be man enough to pick up the phone yourself.
I think that is a fair point.
Or did you want to use the phone and she was like, we're not allowed to let customers use the phone? Well, fine then, you call 911.
Yeah, he looks, he's about 6'4", 6'5", looks like a creative player on NBA 2K when you put all of the headbands and body sleeves on and stuff. But there is now the body cam footage. Because this is 2018, Bomani, and this is what the police body camera revolution has wrought. Let's watch.
How you doing? Good, how are you? Good.
He called the cops.
What's going on, guys? So, this man pushed me in the basketball. We're standing in the basketball. All I did was make a basketball play into him like that, into him like that. That's all I did. If he wants to cry about that, that's a basketball. It's called a basketball.
Brandon, you know you didn't do that. Admit what you did.
No, that's all I did.
You do that.
Hey, let's start with this. You two know each other clearly?
Yeah.
Is this something where you're one of fresh charges for assault and battery, or is this just some heated basketball?
I mean, I thought it was just heated, but I mean, I'm not going to have him one straight down and elbow me in the
And I'm not going to take your pushes in the back either.
I know, but
and then call me a right afterwards, too.
Fight now! Fight! Right there, they could have just, I know 5-0 was there, but they could have just fought.
This is where you go to resolve your problems at this point in American history. In front of a cop. Like, the fact that these guys know each other, Bo.
Hold on. This is not where you resolve your problems at this point in American history. This is where some people resolve their problems at this point in American history.
And I wish they would do it less.
Because I feel pretty confident that if the roles are reversed, Brandon's not calling the cops.
I would agree. I would agree. But what is fascinating to me about their strange interpersonal dynamic is that they've been playing basketball together for 2 years.
Yes.
This is like, from a purely human psychology perspective, now is the time to bring in the authorities? This could not be resolved?
Well, also, man, you can't invite this dude back to play basketball with y'all again after he calls the police, right? Because the problem is, basically, now he got a force field around him. There's a certain level of defense that you can't play against this dude because you never know when he might call 5-0, right? Like, so when he takes it to the basket, he basically, it's like everybody's got 5 fouls.
Yes.
Nobody wants to foul out.
Yes.
Because when you foul out, he calls the cops.
He gets the presidential treatment. But we are not even done here yet because there is a third element here. The officer inquiring about a pressing of those charges.
What is it?
Oh, it's not normal basketball, but I mean...
Is there something where you want me to have charges pressed against me?
No, because I don't want retaliation. That's the only problem.
How well do you two know each other? Like,
For a couple years. Just gym, business, stuff like that. But...
So what do you want me to do?
Can I get kicked out just today, or...?
That's not my... I don't own this place.
Y'all really gonna put this on me?
That's up to you.
I just work here.
Or if y'all don't want to let it go, y'all can both just take the rest of the day off. I don't understand, but how long take a break? We have a little operation here.
I don't have a choice, right?
You have a choice. You have a choice.
I don't have a choice.
Are you good?
If I press charges, he'll come retaliate against me. If I want to go home, if I want...
y'all can just let it...
Look, I'm not saying you have to press charges. I'm saying in terms of whether you stay and go is not my decision. Do you want a police report filed for this particular incident?
Hey, man, let me ask you a question.
Please.
Logically, you just tell me what you think about this. If the reason you don't want to press charges is because you fear retaliation, why don't you understand that the part that causes retaliation is not the pressing of charges, it's the fact that you called the police.
Yes.
Whether or not you press charges, you called the cops on me. If retaliation gonna come, it's coming off of that. That horse done left the barn.
He escalated the situation, and now this poor guy who works at the gym and manages like the sign-up sheet is like, why am I now Chief Justice Rehnquist?
I love that.
How did I get put into this position? I had a lot of cards I wanted to
Yeah, let's say, speaking of whoever's gonna have to pick up these cards after you got done, how did I wind up in this position?
I got it.
Yeah.